everyone, I am State Representative Greg Meyer. Welcome to Our Shot Episode 5. Tonight we're going to take on an alternate reality of what would it mean if Democrats were in charge of the North Carolina General Assembly, and how do we get there? And I'm very excited to be joined by a special guest right off the top, Jackie Zhao. Jackie and a group of other activist moms are launching the Our Shot North Carolina PAC, a political action committee that is going to be dedicated towards supporting our efforts to take back the General Assembly in 2018. I'm very grateful for what they're going to do to add to the Our Shot movement. I want Jackie to tell you about it. But Jackie, let's start with why. Like, how did you come to this? What's the story of how you and I met and how you're getting all this off the ground?
Okay. Well, after the last election, a lot of people were new to activism, newly informed, and not just at the national level, but also at the local and state level. And so in December, for the first time, I went down to the General Assembly and I protested with my 4-year-old daughter in tow. There I met Corey Williams, and we soon roped Tanya Bauer and Ann Clark in to our group, and we started meeting weekly to try and come up with a way to, to figure out how to stop some of the really extremist legislation and policy that was coming from the General Assembly. And we quickly realized that the way to do that was to get more Democrats elected and to break the supermajority in one of the chambers.
Yep, exactly.
And sorry, but we were inspired by your passion, your vision, and also by the Our Shot movement to both recruit but also build leadership skills for candidates.
Great. So this is really inspiring to me because Our Shot should be collective. It should be it's not Greg Meyer's shot. So when they came forward and said, we want to do this thing, can we be part of Our Shot? Can we use the name? I was like, yes. I'd love to have more people bring great Our Shot ideas. What are the things that we can all do together to influence North Carolina? And I love that Jackie and her collaborators are like so many people who have tuned into Our Shot, who got active right after the election. We're trying to figure out what can we do. So what is the impact that you guys want to have next year?
Good. Well, I had collected some data for Sister District Project, which is like a swing left. And one of the tasks was to reach out to Democratic candidates who had run in congressional races but had lost, and to ask them to identify factors that may have played a role in their in the outcome of their race. And a common theme was that they didn't get support from the party. So we decided to review all of the North Carolina state races, and we reached out to Democrats that lost by small margins, in some cases 170 odd votes. We asked them the same question, and we heard a lot of the same answers, that Democrats that ran didn't get support from the party. So we decided as a group that that was certainly something that we could do. We could be effective in getting the message out and also raising money to help get more Democrats elected.
So we know that the candidates that Jackie talked to, here's the challenge. The Democratic Party in 2016 didn't have enough money to go around. When we had to make decisions about which candidates are we going to support, that decision comes very late in the year. It comes right around election season. And so we want to see at that point who's running the best and most competitive campaigns. And there are people that might have been eligible for support, but they had a hard time getting their campaign off the ground. Mm-hmm. So you're going to invest early. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I do. So we're going to try and help support candidates early on in their campaign. So to qualify for caucus money, candidates have to demonstrate that they are indeed competitive. That takes polling data, that takes canvassing, that takes having a good campaign manager, and mailers, things like that. All of those things cost money. Right. And candidates need help early on in order to get that money to get their campaigns up and running. The beginning of a campaign can really set the tone for the entire campaign and be the difference between a successful campaign and one that isn't. Also, we are specifically focusing on House district races, and the reason is we need to flip fewer seats in order to break the supermajority in the House versus the Senate. And also, your dollars can go further in a House race because a typical campaign costs less.
Right. So you all know that I'm out there recruiting, trying to find great candidates for 2018 legislative elections. A lot of times those candidates are saying to me that it's hard to know whether they can really run a competitive campaign, where are they going to get the money from, how much work are they going to have to put into it. So the ability to connect them with the Our Shot North Carolina PAC, to tell them, here's somebody who might be able to support you early, is helping me with recruitment efforts already. So Jackie, how can people out there who might want to make a difference in these efforts, how can they connect with Our Shot NC, and what can they do to support you?
Great. Well, of course, I would say donate. If you are able to donate in any amount, donate to help get more Democrats elected. We are very fortunate, the four of us that started this PAC, to live in very progressive communities, and we have an abundance of progressive resources. We have excellent representation down, at the General Assembly. But we need to channel those resources to help statewide Democrats, and again, to get more Democrats elected, to break the supermajority and then some.
So they can go to your website.
They can go to our website to find out more information, ourshotnc.com. You can donate there. Another option is to throw a house party, and that can come in all different forms. But if you go to the website, you can get more information there, and please, contact us. We are also having a launch party. Our official launch party is going to be on June 4th. That's Sunday from 5 to 7 p.m. at the rooftop terrace of the Pit Barbecue Restaurant in Durham. So please come and join us there.
Yeah, come. It's beautiful. You haven't been up on the rooftop at the Pit in Durham. It's great. I'm sure it's going to be a perfect weather, gorgeous, early June North Carolina night. We're going to have a great time. There's going to be live music. I'm going to be there. You all will hopefully be there. We'd love to have your support for Our Shot North Carolina. Jackie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm really honored to have you working with me on this. We're going to do some great stuff. Y'all, this is our shot to make a difference in next year's elections, thanks to the fine people helping pull together Our Shot North Carolina. Hey, everybody, if you haven't already, hit the share button. Make sure that you're sending this out to your friends. If you have questions, comments for the people at Our Shot North Carolina, feel free to put them down below in the comments section. We'll be back in a little bit and can probably answer some of those questions tonight for you, or they can get on and talk with you a little bit online. Make sure you go check out their website, Twitter. They have a really fiery Twitter. You might want to see what they say on there, and their Facebook page. And we're going to go into segment 2. Here's what we got for you tonight. We're switching up the format of Our Shot a little bit. We got our live interview, but I've done 2 pre-recorded interviews with a couple of colleagues in the General Assembly. I wanted to know from some of my colleagues, if we were in charge, what would we be doing right now? We're not going to dwell on the bad stuff that's coming through the General Assembly's budget. We're going to talk about what would Democrats be doing. Why do we need to invest in things like Our Shot North Carolina to turn the tables after the 2018 elections? And so let me introduce you to my friend and colleague, Senator Jay Chaudhary, where you can meet him and hear a little bit about what he thinks Democrats would be doing in the alternate reality of us being in charge. We'll be back in a couple minutes. I look forward to checking your comments online, and make sure you hit the share button. Hey everybody, I am State Representative Greg Meyer, and I am here today with State Senator Jay Chaudhary from Wake County, Senate District
16.
16.
16 and 16.
That's right, you came in 16. That's easy for you to remember.
That's right.
I don't know if anybody else out there will remember that, but you do. All right, Jay, I've got some get-to-know you questions.
All
First
right.
one, if you could have lunch with one fictional character, who would it be?
Abraham Lincoln.
He's not fictional, man.
Oh,
like,
fictional.
No matter what the Republicans say, he's not
Non-fictional,
fictional.
excuse me.
But we'll go
Fictional.
with that.
No.
You're talking about the one from the movie where he was the zombie killer or whatever?
Well,
Is that
yeah,
the
I've seen the. I wouldn't expect you to say fiction. I would expect you to say non-fiction. Fictional character. Probably James T. Kirk.
Nice. Star Trek.
Yeah.
Whoa, excellent. I didn't see that coming. I might have been racially profiling you or something, but I didn't see that coming. All right, let's see.
Would you want me to say Apu? We should probably not be taking this. I'm sorry.
It's editable.
All right, question number 2.
All right.
What's one place in the world that you most want to visit?
That I have visited or I
you
want to visit?
Yeah, it could be going back, but...
Wow. I'd say the beaches of Thailand.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've been to the mountains of Thailand with Sejal, but we have not been to the beaches of Thailand.
The beaches of Thailand. Wow. All right, go for it. Okay. Will humans discover extraterrestrial life of any form in the next 25 years? Yes or no?
Not in the next 25 years, maybe the next century.
All right. When you were 10, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I think I wanted to be a scientist.
Nice. But you are a
lawyer and a politician. Is that an occupation?
It's a vocation.
Yeah, is it?
All right. If you could wave a magic wand and magically pass one policy into state law, what would it be?
To make sure that every child in North Carolina got an education in early childhood.
Early childhood education.
Early childhood education.
Excellent.
No doubt.
So one of the things I wanted to talk to Jay about today is if we were in charge, if Democrats were in charge in the legislature and we were supporting Governor Cooper right now, what would we be doing differently than what the Republicans are? So what do you think we do differently on early childhood education?
Well, for one thing, if we were in charge, I think we would fully fund early childhood education. I mean, my Republican friends in the Senate have only funded, about 30 to 40% of the wait list that we have on early childhood education. I think we would fully fund everyone that wanted to get an early childhood education.
And I would want us to really emphasize not just the pre-K age of age 4, but I'd want us to look at the 0 to 3 age as well.
Absolutely. I think the studies show that 0 to 3 is probably the most important time for us to educate both parents and children, and we would absolutely focus on that.
Excellent. All right, so Jay has also done a bunch of great thinking about what we need to do for North Carolina's economy. And Democrats in the last election cycle were a little weak on the economy message. So what do you got? What should we be doing on the economy, Jay?
Well, I'll give you two ideas on the economy. One is I think we can set up this, what I call the economic and education and entrepreneurship endowment, which is the idea of using our unclaimed property money. We've got millions and millions of dollars of unclaimed property money. If we set that up into an endowment model, we can literally have billions of dollars. Part of it can go to pay for kids that can go to college and community college. I'm a big proponent of free community college, and we can use a sliver of that money to invest in startup companies here in North Carolina. I think the startup economy is really, really important in North Carolina because small businesses can be the future of North Carolina. They employ more people than the large companies that we've got.
So you just laid out a policy proposal that would make community college virtually free, maybe all the way free, and invest money in startup economy, and it would not raise taxes.
And it wouldn't cost a penny.
Wouldn't cost people a dime.
That's right.
This is why you need Democratic leadership, people. Like, that sounds like it's logical, shouldn't be that hard to do. We, in fact, tried to do it last session, but it failed, right? I mean,
we have introduced the idea when I worked with Treasurer Cowles, an idea that we shared with Republicans in both the House and the Senate, and they didn't take it up.
Let's do that, people. Let's do that. We got to take back the General Assembly so that we can set up, what's the name of it?
The Education and Entrepreneurship Endowment.
All right. And you said you had a second idea. What's the second idea?
Well, I think my second idea would be free community college. I mean, I think if we look at what Tennessee, a red state, has done, what Oregon, a blue state, has done, free community college is the single best way to move people up the economic ladder.
Awesome. All right. All right, so as we do with other guests here in my office where I've got my antique record player, Jay came in today and picked out a record he wanted to play. Why don't you take this? I'll make sure the record's playing.
All right.
Tell us what you picked and why.
Yeah, so I picked the Reverend Al Green. Al Green is one of the great American soul singers, and I picked Love and Happiness, Greg, because I think we as Democrats have to be optimistic about 2017 and 2018. And Democrats represent love.
Love wins.
That's right. Love wins.
This is also one of my Desert Island discs. This sometimes goes in and out of the #1 slot on my all-time favorite albums. And it's kind of weird for me to pick a greatest hits album, but this one just has so many great songs. Like, and you guys had a dance party. The Senate had a dance party at 2 a.m. when the Senate Republicans were messing with you on the budget this year.
That's right. We played some Shaft in honor of you, Greg, last Friday morning at 3 a.m. while we were in recess, which unfortunately ended with Republicans cutting funding for Democratic education programs and for low-income students in poor counties. But we were playing some Shaft listening to that.
So you played Shaft, and then they gave us the Shaft.
Then they gave us the Shaft. That's true.
Well played. We had a sing-along to this one time with Senator Valerie Foushee, Angela Bryant, and Gladys Robinson out there in the same place we had that sing-along. So this one has gotten some good use in the General Assembly.
So you might be suggesting that the real musical talent's in the Senate, not in the House, then.
You guys have all the musical talent. We have other talents. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. It's great to spend some time with Jay Chowdhury. You want to say anything else to the fine people out there?
No, this has been an honor and a privilege. I'm a big fan of Greg Myers. It's great to have great members to work together. And like I said, I'm very optimistic when I work with Greg. I have a great deal of optimism about the future for progressive causes and for Democrats. Thank you, Greg.
This is our shot to work on early childhood education, free community college, and investing in entrepreneurship. You heard it all from Senator Jay Chowdhury. Thanks, everybody.
All right, man.
So y'all know that really I just want to have a show where I get to talk about music, right? Like clearly it's more fun than talking about politics, but it was great to have Jay on. Jay, thanks for coming on and talking about your vision for how we can invest in North Carolina. Friends, if you got anything you want to ask about tonight, feel free to post it in the comments, and I'll come back. I'll be happy to talk more about what our Shot North Carolina PAC is going to do, or to talk about any of the things that Senator Chowdhury or Senator Smith Ingram bring up. Let's go ahead and move on to our final segment for the night. I want you to meet Erica Smith Ingram, another phenomenal senator with me in the General Assembly, who has she has an interesting piece of an alternate reality to introduce to you. And then she'll also tell you about some great policy stuff, but I think you'll get a kick out of the beginning of this interview. Meet Erica Smith Ingram. Hey everybody, I am State Representative Greg Meyer. Thanks for watching Our Shot. This is our shot to meet State Senator Erica Smith Ingram. From which Senate district?
I'm from Senate District 3.
And you represent like a dozen counties? How many counties?
Almost. I feel like I represent all 100, of course.
Oh, sweet.
But I have 8 of them in eastern North Carolina: Bertie, Chowan, Edgecombe, Hertford, Martin, Northampton, Terrell, and Washington.
Wow, pretty well done. I only represent 2. I don't think I can keep track of 8. All right, here we go. I've got a few questions for the audience to get to know you. If you could have lunch with one fictional character, who would it be?
One fictional character, it would be Brer Rabbit.
Ooh, Brer Rabbit.
Yes.
Why?
Brer Rabbit, because Brer Rabbit had such wisdom, and I love the way that he was able to break down intense pedagogy in a way and unwrap it in a way that you can understand and apply it to your life.
Ooh, nice. Oh, I like it. Okay, what politician do you most admire?
The politician that I most admire is the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And I know that people don't traditionally see him as a politician, but I see him as a change agent and someone who got involved from the theological aspect to be able to impact the lives of people in the here and now, where they don't have to wait until the after while.
All right, I like it. Do you think, yes or no, will humans discover any form of extraterrestrial life within the next 25 years?
Yes.
Yes.
I do believe that, because you know I'm a scientist, and I, in my former life when I was an engineer, I worked for the Boeing company in Seattle, Washington, and I had an opportunity to work on space station. And so in working with space station, I definitely know there are other beings out there, and I'm excited about our discoveries.
Wait, you just said you worked on the space station and you definitely know there are other beings out there. It's just like a Trump White House leak that you're telling something that like NASA doesn't want us to know?
I'm still under my top secret clearance, so I would not be able to divulge anything else. But if you want to talk, you know, a little bit later when you check your clearance, we will find out.
What this means is,
give out this classified information.
If you all make a contribution and come to an Erica Smith Ingram fundraiser when she's talking off camera, you'll get to hear her secret knowledge about extraterrestrial life in our universe.
Yes, I will.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know we were going to go there. Outside of the legislature, you're a teacher. Is that right?
Yes.
And so we both have worked in education. What's one thing that you think people don't know about teaching?
Well, I used to be an engineer, I told you that, for 10 years, and I will tell anybody hands down, teaching is the toughest job on the planet. You have to entertain, enlighten, educate, all at the same time. You have to control the classroom, and you have to unwrap the knowledge in a way that the students can receive it, and you are competing with the digital age. Our brains, children respond differently, and so it's definitely a hard working job. It is difficult. You have to be the parent while they're there. You're the social worker, you're the counselor, you're doing so many things with one job, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love teaching.
See, I get the Brer Rabbit reference. It all makes sense. All right, if you could wave a magic wand and pass one policy to help the state of North Carolina, what would you do?
I would swing that magic wand, and I teach high school mathematics, physics, and chemistry, and so the first thing that I would do, I would look at the calculus of how we fund economic development across the state. We have a problem that the formulas that are written in Raleigh don't work well in the areas that I serve, the northeastern area of our state, which has been underserved, underinvested in, underdeveloped, and we definitely need to look at infrastructure. We also need to look at our incentives for promoting economic development in areas, bringing companies like JDIG, Jobs Development Investment Grant. I supported changing the formula and tweaking the formula so that Tier 3 counties, which you know are the most prosperous and successful, they received 77% of JDIG projects in 2015, and what we supported was capping it at 50% for the Tier 3, and that allows places like Greensboro, who moved from Tier 3 to Tier 2, now they have an opportunity to go after the other 50%, as well as all of the Tier 1 counties that I serve.
So Tier 3 are the richest counties, Tier 1 are the poorest counties.
Yes,
You're saying
Tier 1s are the most economically distressed, and all 8 of my counties are Tier 1.
So what do you tell people about why, if we were in charge, things would be better for rural North Carolina?
Things will be better for rural North Carolina because we focus on infrastructure investments, broadband to the capacity that is needed, not just in the east, but in the rural west as well. We know with every educational opportunity as well as economic development and companies, we live in a global society, and we will be able to generate jobs, but as well people can work from home with the access to the broadband. We look at the educational opportunities. You can earn a degree, a master's degree, you can earn a doctorate degree online, but you have to be able to have that broadband.
Right. But the current legislature has been standing in the way of finishing last mile broadband expanding into rural areas since 2010. This is,
yes.
I can say the same thing in the House. This would be one of our top priorities if we took over. Would be to figure out how to have a comprehensive statewide broadband plan. I just can't understand why it hasn't been done yet.
And if we're going to become globally competitive, and our students and our workers have to be able to compete first before they can contribute. And we always say a good paying job will solve a multitude of issues.
Yes.
People will be able to afford the necessary care that they need.
Yeah. And tell us about one education policy that you would do. I know you have a particular pet project with cooperative innovative high schools. That one or another one, tell us what you think we would do there.
I look at getting students ready for the workforce as well as getting them college and career ready. What I love about the cooperative and innovative high schools is that students graduate with their high school diploma in one hand and they have their certification in the other hand. They can immediately be able to go out and get a job. They can work there. For those going on for a 4-year degree, they will have a source of income. They can work a part-time job. And many of our students work. And because many of our low-income students have to work their way through college, Representative Meyer, they end up dropping out because they're working so many hours, they can't get their credits accomplished. And so with putting the money and the emphasis so that students have access to career and technology education as well as STEM and STEAM projects. I look at the performing arts as well as the culinary arts and be able to work in the restaurant industry. Dare County, which is not in my district, but certainly a lot of my district go to Dare County, is number one in tourism in the state. But imagine if those students can readily get a job and be able to contribute and earn money. So also with cooperative innovative high schools, when students get that experience on the community college level, their outcomes become much better in terms of finishing and completing their degree.
We know that kids who do at least one course in a community college or a college while they're in high school are much more likely to be employed later and complete college later. It's something that we can help them with in that transition. So y'all are not going to be surprised by the song that Senator Smith Ingram picked out to play on my record player. You picked out Leadbelly's collection of songs, and what song did you pick?
I picked out song number 5, Little Children's Blues.
And tell us about why you have a specific message about why you think education continues to be so important. Why is that?
And that's because, as we shared earlier, education is a means of liberation when we were first emancipated, but as well, it's a means of elevation. If we're going to change and impact the socio-economic status of people, we must invest in education that will lead to the job opportunities and careers that they will be able to raise their families. I believe it all hinges on us investing in children at a younger age. That's why I believe in investing in pre-K, so that we can bring those positive outcomes.
Here you go,
we gotta think about the children.
With very clear values, a fascinating background, and some secrets about extraterrestrials. It's amazing what we have in the General Assembly. Senator Erica Smith Ingram, thanks so much for coming on Our Shot.
Thank you, Representative Meyer.
This is Our Shot to help Eastern North Carolina and improve education for all kids across the state. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you. You were just amazing.
All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in tonight. I loved talking with Jay and Erica and thinking about the alternate reality of what we could do for the state of North Carolina, for Eastern North Carolina, for all of North Carolina, if we just took back the legislature. And that's what Our Shot NC PAC is going to help with. Y'all, this is Our Shot to Turn Around North Carolina. I'm Greg Meyer. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.